From the Grand Canyon to the White Mountains and Sonoran Desert, the team that brings you news from across our state. With Kent Dana, Janine Ford, Bill Austin Weather, and Bill Denny Sports.
I'm Call 12 for Action's Rick DeBrule. Have you heard about something called Leak Ender 2000? It looks like a can of spray paint, but it promises to fix any leak. Well, Consumer Reports checked whether it really does the job.
Why put up with gushing gutters, dripping drains, wet windowsills, and rain-soaked RVs? Leak Ender 2000 stops all those leaks with just a simple spray.
Well, that's the commercial. So Consumer Reports tried testing the Leak Ender 2000. They tried spraying it at room temperature on a section of rain gutter that was cut. Once the spray dried, Bert Pappenberg filled the gutter with water. And guess what? The first fix worked.
No leaks, there's no water coming through.
Next, they sprayed Leak Ender on a copper pipe that had small holes drilled into it. This time, the Leak Ender couldn't do the job. The fix didn't hold, even with water pressure that was far less than what's in your home. Now, besides promising to fix pipes, Leak Ender makes another claim.
Look, we'll take this garden hose and cut it with a knife. Now we'll shut off the water, spray on Leak Ender 2000, and minutes later the hose is as good as new. The cut is sealed completely.
But when Consumer Reports tried the same fix, the hose leaked. And when they shut off the nozzle, it gushed. So Consumer Reports says for most leaks, Leak Ender's claims don't hold water. Apartment living isn't for everyone, so Joe Anderson thought he'd found a great deal.
When I moved in, I explained to them my situation. We weren't sure, but they guaranteed me with their pillar promise that for any reason, if I'm not happy within the first 30 days and we find out apartment living's not for us, we're able to move.
The management company, Pillar, even had it on a flyer that Joe was given. It says if you're not happy for any reason, you may move without penalty. But when Joe decided he didn't like apartment living,
we called them and told them that we'd like to take up their promise to let us out of our lease. And the manager basically said no, that that's not what that's not what their promise is for.
Here's the catch. The company said the promise applied to problems with the apartment, problems they could potentially fix. But in this case, there were no problems they could fix. The apartment was great. Joe just didn't like living there. Joe showed Call 12 for Action his paperwork, and we agreed with him. It didn't matter how nice these apartments are. The flyer said any reason. We called the company and managed to convince them to change their minds. Joe was let out of his lease.
You guys were very cooperative, very understanding, and very helpful.
I'm Call 12 for Action's Rick DeBrule. If you're still battling those holiday bills, you might be interested in jumping to one of those low-interest credit cards. Consumer Report says if that's your plan, do it cautiously. Even with the recession, consumers still racked up more than $100 billion in credit card debt over the holidays. But before you move your credit card debt to one of those flashy companies that send you an offer in the mail, call your own credit card company first.
Tell your credit card company you've been getting lots of balance transfer offers and ask for a lower rate. They just may say yes.
If you don't get a lower rate, Consumer Reports says your next step is to carefully consider the offers. Many charge a balance transfer fee of up to 3%. Also, check how long that special interest rate is good for. Some last as long as 9 months.
You want to use the 9 months to pay off your credit card debt completely. That may mean you'll have to curb your spending for a while.
And make sure you know what the rate will be after the introductory offer expires. And finally, don't make a habit of switching cards. It can hurt your credit rating. Consumer Reports also warns you should never make the minimum monthly payment. It can add thousands of dollars in interest and take years to pay off. Rick DeBrule, 12 News. Anita Novotny was visiting relatives in New Jersey when it happened.
I left my medication at home, and consequently I was losing sleep, and I became depressed, and I went to the hospital.
A simple trip that turned into a paperwork nightmare.
We called the insurance company, and they had no claim from the hospital at all. I mean, it was like I wasn't even there.
Because Anita's blind, she kept her notes in Braille.
And there I spoke to Amy.
She even enlisted the help of a sighted friend, Bobby Schaefer, and still no luck.
Yeah, it just went from sort of shuffling you from one person to the next person to the next person, and nobody knew anything.
Finally, after I got the first collection notice, I called you. And as soon as 12 stepped in, things started to happen.
This was really a case of just getting somebody's attention. Medicare was involved, Humana was involved, there was a hospital that was involved. After making some phone calls, we finally got somebody who was able to give this case some attention and solve it. The bill for nearly $8,000 was paid. Anita did a good job of keeping notes on all her calls. That helped, but she's not ready to chalk this up to a learning experience.
Well, I don't know that I learned anything from it except that it was a lot of stupidity.
Alice Saltzman thought it was a chance to help someone who worked where she lives by loaning $2,000.
I had absolutely no doubt because she did appear to be a nice person, an honest person.
Alice waited for the loan to be repaid, but the money didn't show.
One story after another. One story, one lie after another.
Alice finally took the woman to small claims court.
I won the judgment, didn't get the money.
All the paperwork didn't mean much because she wasn't dealing with a business, just somebody she knew.
And then I thought, I've got to do something, and then I saw you on television.
So Alice called 12 for action. Now the problem was she wasn't dealing with a big business that had a big building downtown. She was just dealing with an individual, someone she loaned money to. But within a week of calling that woman up and telling her that she had to live up to that court obligation, the $2,000 was paid back. Now Alice is being pretty hard on herself.
Super senior sucker. And please, all you seniors out there, don't give yourself that label.
I'm Call 12 for Action's Rick DeBrule. Last week we told you what Consumer Reports has picked for the best used cars. Well, today it's time to take a look at the best new cars. The first category is small car. The winner, what's this one right here, the Honda Civic EX. It's got a little more horsepower and a pretty roomy interior for a little car. Fully equipped, it'll cost you around $17,000. If you're looking for something fun to drive, well, this is what Consumer Reports says is the best pick. It's the Subaru Impreza WRX. Practical and sporty, should cost you between $23,000 and $25,000. If you're looking for something in the family sedan range, well, this is the car that wins again, the VW Passat. It edged out the newly redesigned Toyota Camry. Should cost you between $20,000 and $30,000. If you're in the mood for a pickup truck, try the Toyota Tundra. The V8 version should cost between $21,000 and $27,000. And according to Consumer Reports, this truck is now setting the standard for full-size pickups. If you're looking for an SUV, well, there are two choices from one company. This is what Consumer Reports says is the best small SUV. It's the RAV4. Now, this should start at about $16,000. The other Toyota is the Highlander, the best mid-size SUV. It's just like the Lexus version, but it'll only cost you $23,000 to $28,000. Now, if money's not an issue, you want the best car you can buy, this is it, the BMW 530i. According to Consumer Reports, this is the best package of performance, luxury, safety, it's everything. In fact, this car beat out last year's winner, which was the Mercedes. They say this is the ultimate car if you're looking for that. Now, I have to tell you, the cars we pointed out aren't the only cars that Consumer Reports recommends, just the top. If you want the complete list, get the April issue of Consumer Reports. Goes on sale in the newsstands next week. Rick DeBrule, 12 News. It's been nearly 6 months since Lori Williams had kidney surgery, and she may need more. That's why her health insurance is so important.
Because it's my well-being. I mean, I have to get better. I have to have my health back so I can go back to work and go back to my quality of life.
Because of her surgery, Lori couldn't work at Great Clips anymore, but Lori says that even though she continued to pay the premiums for her health insurance there, those premiums weren't getting passed on, so her health insurance was canceled.
I started out with the Arizona Department of Insurance Commission. I spoke with all my senators. I spoke with my congressmen. I talked to everybody.
Lori showed her paperwork to both the State Insurance Commission and our Call 12 for Action office. Although it was technically a federal problem, together we managed to get her insurance reinstated.
If it wasn't for you and the insurance department, I don't think I would have gotten anywhere.
But it was Lori's homework that helped.
Document everything. That's the only other thing I can say. Keep records, document all your phone calls, who you talked to, when you talked to them.
Carolyn Farrell is one of the estimated 55 million workers who have a 401k retirement plan. Now, her husband is self-employed, and they have a 5-year-old son. Now, it was time to work on her 401k.
We've been doing the right thing. We need to ratchet it up a little bit, which we sort of had known.
Like most people, Carolyn's 401k wasn't diversified. Most of her money was in one low-risk but low-return fund. Consumer Reports' Mary McQueen says a common problem is that companies don't offer a variety of investment fund choices.
A good employer retirement plan should offer a wide variety of mutual funds holding stocks, bonds, and cash. It should also offer high, moderate, and low-risk choices.
It's also important not to have too much of your money in your employer's stock.
You should probably cap your holdings of company stock at 10 to 20%.
If your employer doesn't offer many choices, make sure your spouse has a retirement account. That's one way of spreading out your investments. But here's the biggest mistake of all, not saving at all. Experts say that if you're in your 20s or your 30s, at least contribute enough to get your employer's match. And the closer you get to retirement, the more you should save. Rick DeBrule, 12 News. The Stroutman children love to draw, and their mother has found a way to display their artwork without marring the walls with tape marks or thumbtack holes. When she painted the room, she used something called Magna Magic, which made her walls magnetic.
I can have an entire wall that's just completely dedicated to their artwork, and so everybody gets to show their artwork and everybody gets their own space.
Consumer Reports' John McAloon just tested Magna Magic. You simply add it to your paint. After John coated sections of this board, he measured the magnetic force.
One coat, the attraction's weak. 2 coats, it's a bit stronger. 3 coats is pretty strong.
Consumer Reports also tested 2 other products, Magic Wall Magnetic Paint and Magnetic Creations. These are undercoats you paint on your wall and then you cover it with regular paint. Magnetic Creations turned out to have the best holding power, but don't expect the grip of a metal cabinet or a refrigerator. None of these products promises that much pull. Still, they're fine for holding up artwork and other papers or posters with a lightweight magnet. Now, one thing you do have to remember, all 3 of those products will give your wall kind of a textured look, and the more coats you put on, the rougher it looks. Rick DeBrule, 12 News. Roy Eman and Harold Wozner are still waiting for their magnetic mattress pads.
Just never got the product.
The 2 friends have all the paperwork to show they each paid a company called Europelux nearly $1,000. They should have checked, though, with the Better Business Bureau first about Europelux. It's got a bad record.
When consumers ask for a refund, they don't get it. They're not getting the product as promised.
Now, Europelux, whose address turns out to be a Mailboxes Etc. in Phoenix, appears to have gone out of business. But just the other day, we got this email from one of our viewers. It said there's a new company that's cropped up selling magnetic mattress pads. The new company the viewer identifies? ELGMAC. When we checked with the Corporation Commission, we discovered that the man behind Europelux, Thorsten Weichel, is the same man behind this new company, ELGMAC.
It's very apparent that they are similar companies and owned by the same person.
When we went to ELGMAC's address, we found another Mailboxes Etc. in Scottsdale this time, not far from the $700,000 home that Thorsten owns here at Troon, which is a long way from the mobile home where Roy Eman is renting and waiting for his money.
Are you tired of the ever-increasing cost of healthcare insurance? Finally, there is an affordable choice. Care Entree is a non-insurance solution which can offer medical care to you and your family at substantial savings.
Care Entree offers a nationwide medical discount card program. So does Ameriplan USA and Chamber Health. First, you must understand what they are not.
These plans are not health insurance, and they should not be thought of as a substitute for health insurance.
Like insurance, most plans charge a fee, anywhere from $10 to $120 per month. Unlike insurance, they don't pay for care. They just get you the discount. But a discount on what?
Detailed price lists from doctors, hospitals, and drugstores are not readily available. If you don't know the actual cost of a product or service, it's virtually impossible to tell if you're getting a good deal.
And be careful, sometimes the discount is for a brand name drug when a generic version is actually cheaper. Consumer Reports says there are really better ways to save. Start by simply shopping around for the best prescription deal. And if you don't have insurance, talk to your doctor, negotiate, see if you can get a lower fee. I'm Call 12 for Action's Rick DeBrule. Everybody's got a different idea on what it takes to lose weight. What kind of products should you buy? What kind of diet should you be on? Well, Consumer Reports talked to 8,000 successful dieters to find out what really works. Cynthia Sparber is a dieting success. In the last year and a half, she has lost 68 pounds and managed to keep the weight off.
I feel healthier. My endurance is better. I'm more patient with my kids.
Consumer Reports' survey of successful dieters like Cynthia found the biggest names weren't the big winners. Only 14% of successful dieters, for example, said they used programs like Weight Watchers or Jenny Craig. When asked if they'd use Slim Fast, Ensure, or some of the other meal replacements, only 12% said yes. As for Metabolife, Dexatrim, and other weight loss aids, only 6% of successful dieters said yes. So how'd they do it?
The vast majority, 83%, said they lost the weight without the help of any formal diet product or program. They did it on their own.
Consumer Reports says eating turkey, chicken, and other lean protein at meals and snacks is one strategy that works. So is eating a lot of fruits, vegetables, and other foods with high water content. The successful dieters were also using high fiber grains like whole wheat bread, oatmeal, and brown rice. And Cynthia, like the other successful dieters in the survey, says you also have to exercise as well. She says that's really the key to keeping it off. So just how successful were those 8,000 dieters who stopped eating all this junk food? Well, they had to lose at least 10% of their body weight. Half of them kept it off for at least a year. More than half kept all that weight off for more than 5 years. Rick DeBrule, 12 News.
There have been things that we've changed, like with the flags.
Susan Hard likes to show off her neighborhood.
Part of it is that we maintain the properties, we maintain the areas and keep them clean.
And she says part of what makes her neighborhood so great is the Homeowners Association.
I think it goes deeper than that, though. I think that there is a greater sense of community. In a way, we're just a small town. This is a welcome packet. We give this to our new homeowners.
Susan said it's not just that there are rules, but it's the way the Homeowners Association board works together.
We do a lot of communicating. Our board members are friendly with one another. If we have any issues, we talk about it.
Neighbor Kathy Borer agrees.
I am proud to be in this neighborhood and to be in this association where it looks so nice.
Susan says the key to success is understanding what the association does.
You are the town.
Right.
You are the mayor and council as being on the board, and the people who are in the association are part owners of this corporation.
And her advice for people living with a problem homeowners association?
Get involved. Run for the board, join a committee, get out there, get to know the people, read your documents. A lot of the problems come because you just don't understand what associations are about.
I'm Call 12 for Action's Rick DeBrule. One computer virus can cause you lots of problems. In fact, more than half of the people who responded to a Consumer Reports survey said that their computer has had a virus in the last 2 years. Linda Mule is one of those. Her computer got a virus in an email that looked like pictures from her sister.
I wasn't expecting pictures, but because it was from my sister, I really didn't think twice about opening it. And when I opened it, my AOL shut down.
Linda lost all kinds of documents, and her experience is not unusual.
Viruses will get themselves sent to you from somebody you know. So the return address on the email could be your aunt or your buddy or some friend. And that, of course, makes you drop your guard.
Consumer Reports tested software programs that promise to guard your computer. They all work pretty much the same.
Part of the software is always monitoring your computer in case a virus comes in. When the software finds a virus, it lets you know with this little alert window.
Once it finds a virus, it tells you what step to take. Consumer Reports prefers the McAfee Virus Scan 6.0 or the Norton Antivirus 2002. Both will cost you about $50 plus $5 to $10 a year for updates. This website is full of boats that used to be a lot of fun for their owners until they were stolen.
Boat theft costs boat owners and their insurance companies $40 million a year.
Sometimes the big boats are stolen by professionals.
They'll actually come up to the lake with an empty trailer, look around, try to find a boat, maybe at the marina or something that matches that trailer, and then they'll just disconnect it from the dock over there and float it up under the trailer and be gone.
Other times, jet skis left unattended on the shoreline by their owners are targets.
And when they come back, somebody's walked along the shoreline and spotted it and jumped on it and have taken off with it.
But even more often, they're taken from the land, stolen out of a driveway or off the street.
Boat theft in the United States is big business. About 1,000 boats are stolen every month, and that number has been increasing.
The National Insurance Crime Bureau says think long and hard about the lock you use or where you park it. If it's easy for you to drive that boat away, it's easy for the thief. It all started with license plate tags.
The problem surfaced when I realized my daughter had traded in the car that we had bought her at the same time that I had paid for the new tags.
So he figured he deserved his money back.
In the meantime, I've got tags worth $70 that were going to be on this vehicle that was gone before I ever got the tags. So, hello, why don't we just exchange this? You give me my money back, I'll give you your tags, and, you know, the deal is complete.
He wrote a letter and he made phone calls, but no one at MVD answered.
Just for the fun of it, I'm going to call up and see, is there anything you guys can do to at least elicit a response from these people?
So Dick called 12 for Action. This one was pretty easy. We put in a call to MVD, and just a short time later, Dick got both a telephone call and a check. And here's a suggestion for you the next time you sell a car. Go to the MVD's website. fill out the sold notice. It immediately tells the MVD you no longer own the car. Until you do, you're potentially liable for tickets and accidents that could happen with your old car. Walmart sells a vast assortment of products, some 80,000 different items. You'll find everything from shoes to tools to toys. Consumer Reports just rated Walmart along with Kmart and 2 other mega chains, Target and Sears. Also included 2 warehouse clubs, Costco and Sam's Club. The ratings are based on the shopping experiences of 31,000 Consumer Reports readers who participated in the magazine's 2001 survey. Most people agreed with these Walmart shoppers.
I like their prices.
Prices are good. Great selection, good variety of items for the house, for the kids.
However, the survey asked about more than just prices and product selection.
We asked people about the quality of the merchandise, the knowledgeability of the sales staff, how helpful they are. We asked about checkout speed, just getting in and out of the store. And we ask about the layout, how easy it is to get from one department to another.
In these areas, Walmart didn't do as well as some of the others. For example, Target received higher marks for store layout, as well as for speedy checkout, and Sears did well across the board. People noted that it had good product quality and a helpful sales staff that was very knowledgeable. But Costco topped the list when it came to the place where you get the best value.
What value is about is really, did you get your money's worth? And at Costco, people felt they really got that and more.
Consumer Reports says Costco's prices are so low you'll quickly recoup the $45 membership fee if you shop there regularly.
Do your old, worn-out walls need to be repainted, but do you hate running back and forth with that messy roller? Then you need the Paint Runner, the revolutionary new home painting system that transforms your old walls into beautiful, professionally painted walls in less than 3 minutes.
Consumer Reports put that 3-minute claim to the test. Right from the start, the Paint Runner was both time-consuming and messy. The instructions say to first pour the paint into a container and then transfer it to the Paint Runner.
The next task is to charge the roller, and that is to bring the paint to the surface of the roller.
That took up to 5 minutes. Using it like an ordinary roller only gave patchy coverage. Rolling it from top to bottom was better, but not enough to live up to another advertising claim.
So all you need is one coat.
This is one coat coverage. The quality is very poor. If this was my wall, I wouldn't be a very happy camper.
And cleanup was tedious. Paint Runner promises a clean roller in just seconds. Consumer Reports says it took 15 minutes. Bottom line, the Paint Runner wastes more time than it saves. Consumer Reports says you really get better results with simply an ordinary roller. Rick DeBrule, 12 News. Inline skating, skateboarding, extreme biking, all things you wouldn't want to try without some padding. Now, a helmet's good, but your knees, elbows, and wrists should also be protected. Consumer Reports just tested 7 different protective padding sets. They cost anywhere from $18 to $65, with padding from a 1/4 inch to an inch thick. This machine tests for shock absorption. All the padding did well in a 5-mile-per-hour crash. Then the drop height was increased, simulating falls at higher speeds.
As speeds increase, you start to see major differences in how the padding protects you.
In general, thicker padding, like you see on the left, offers better protection. Design can also be important.
Pads with an elastic sleeve will stay over your joint better if you have a crash.
Testers found you don't have to spend a lot to get a good, complete set of gear. Consumer Reports found 2 good values. Bone Shield's Elite is one. The other is the Rollerblade Blade Gear LX. Both did well in the test. They cost about $30 each. They've got thick padding that offers strong shock absorption, which, if you're playing any of these sports, you'll need. If you want to keep your padding clean, Consumer Reports says do not stick it in a washing machine. Just hand wash it with soap and water and then let it air dry. Rick DeBrule, 12 News.